Hello everybody, welcome to the sound test room. Today we are taking a look at elastic drums, and this is going to be a full tutorial. Elastic drums is a Groovebox. It's one of the best Grooveboxes we've got on iOS. It's been brilliant since it came out. Now, it is not an AUV3, it is inter-app audio, but honestly, you'll get the most fun just playing with the app on its own. You can export the audio. You can export the stems of your tracks here. So you can do all sorts of cool stuff. It's very clever, and it's not that difficult to understand once you get your head around how it works. We have four main sections. The instrument section here, which has the pattern sequencer grid, and then the controls for the synth engines or the sampler. Then you have the arrange page, which has the mixer and the pattern arrangement view. Then you have the effects page, and then you have the jam page, which is for live performance and stuff like that. We're going to start with an initial patch, and I'm going to take you through how everything works. So to get an initial patch, go to factory presets, and the very top one is init preset. Hit that and it's done. So you can click outside. Now, also in this preset browser, you've got this button called tempo. If this is switched on, it will change tempo depending on whoever programmed the pattern or whatever you had your pattern set on. Okay, so we leave this disallowed. So whatever happens now, whatever pattern we change or choose, the tempo will remain at 100 BPM. So if you're performing live and you want to jump through a load of different presets and stuff like that, have tempo set off so it's not changing. Okay, right, first of all, let's see. We have engines. We have a synth engine, and we have lots of synth engines, different ones: squares, hi-hat, clap, square, FM op for FM operator, wobble, grain, drone, bass. We have the sampler, and then we have PM1, PM2, mod. These are all different synthesizer engines, and depending on what you select, so for example, some of the controls in the engine, the synth controls, will change here. So we're going to start with this kick. I'm just going to put in 4 on the floor across this first instrument. And we have 6 instruments to choose from, and by default 5 and 6 are muted. We can mute and solo any of our instruments here. So for example, I could mute our kick drum here and unmute it and solo it, but there's nothing else to solo it against. You can also do this in the arrange view here. Okay, and you can control the volume, obviously, the panning, the effects sends, which I'll show you in a moment. And yeah, mute and solo, we've done that basically. So that's your mixer. Let's go back to our instrument page. Now, you have lots and lots and lots of controls. So for example, this is our kick. So whatever we're selected on, we're going to be controlling here. So each of these completely independent synthesizer engines, whatever you have selected. Okay, so you have your volume panel, your effects send and stuff here, exactly you have on the mixer settings, except this is just for this channel. You have pitch. Double tap to reset tone, decay, release, frequency, curve, square, low pass, warble overdrive, which is quite nice, noise, warble, and warble speed. You'd hear this on like longer samples, for example. These are your sequencer settings, so watch how this is tracking across the top here. Sequencer length, we can set this anything from 16 down to 1. Okay, and again, this is all completely independent. So if I put like we're going to get this cool polyrhythmic stuff going on. Let's stay on this snare engine. And you'll see it's different than the kick engine. Looks things will change. Let's put this back up to, we could take it down to 1. So it's just triggering this one on the C. Let's take it back up to 16. And let's go to number 3 here. And this is our hi-hat engine. But you can have any engine you like. You don't have to have it as the hi-hat engine. Let's change it to maybe clap. Okay, let's use that synth sound for the clap. Right, so awesome stuff. Now, say for example that you may want to now change the velocity on some of these. So choose which engine you want, right? Which track you want, track 3, which synth engine. We say want to change the velocity of these, right? Okay, so what we do is we tap on velocity. And now what this wants to do is we need to select whatever we want. Now we can use the velocity settings to change anything, but the most obvious thing would be to change the volume. Now watch what happens here as soon as I tap volume. You see these will change, okay? And now we're out of velocity selection, but we can now dial in something. So let's do this. Let's put another 4 steps in here, but this time we'll have, take that out. We'll have this as a kind of a ramp up like this. Now when we play it, now if you want more accurate control over your velocity or over your automation, what we do is we long hold velocity and it opens up the velocity window here. So now we can make further adjustments. We can change some of these, and you can see which steps are highlighted here. See, I've just added another one in. To exit this, we just long hold velocity again. Okay, cool. Let's look at our sampler. Now, there are a couple of in-app purchases that you can make with Elastic Drums, and one of them is sample import. Okay, there are also other packs and things you can buy and stuff like that, but I would definitely say get sample import. Sample import will allow you to load in your own samples, for example, you know, so you're not stuck with the ones that are in here, although there are a lot of really great ones. So let's choose track number 4. Let's go into our synth engine and scroll down till we find our sampler. Okay, now we've got initial sampler, percussion reverb. Look, we've got all this stuff over here. Let's close this now. We know our inner sampler. We still have our mix settings, but you'll see these have changed again now. So for example, it might make some funny sounds like that. To stop that, what's happening is it's multi-triggering a sample. Let's long hold on here and choose init. And now, so if you're ever getting a weird kind of glitchy kind of stuttery noise, just long hold and always just set this to init. Now you can choose a sample. And these are the factory ones. But if you go back, I've got all the IAPs. Some of these are IAPs. So for example, we could go with the App Sound Lo-Fi samples, which are really great. Scroll around till you find something you want. Okay, I'm going to choose this one. So as soon as I've selected it, it's loaded. So now what I can do is start to fill up these, not those, Doug, fill up these here with our samples. And now when we play, let's do that. When we play, let's go up here. Now we can control the overall volume. We can go in and make some adjustments to velocity. Let's do that, shall we? So let's click on velocity, click on this, and now it's kind of got more of a human feel going on. You can, of course, adjust the length, but we won't really notice because we're filling in all our steps. But we can change the timing. And we can go half again as fast. And we can also delay the sequence, so it gives us like it shuffles the steps slightly off grid. I'll show you that with another track, but let's just look at our mixer now, and you can see all the automations are going on. If you want to remove automations from anything, long hold on the parameter and just go delete. And then you've removed any automations that you've put in. Let's go to track 5, and I'm going to add in another kind of, I'll add another sample sound. So let's go into sample, and let's maybe choose, in fact, let's import one of our own. Import is one of the in-app purchases. So we're going to hit import. I'm going to go to the electronic sound stuff. I'm going to look for reflective. Here, I'm going to look for drums and snares. Let's just see this one. This one. I'm going to hit import into app. Now, Elastic Drums uses audio share. So if you've got audio share, which I'm guessing you probably have, you can put your samples in there and access them from audio share. Right, okay. I received content, thank you. Okay, now if I go back now and go to my use samples, you will see that I'm going to just long hold this and hit a knit. Let me just load one of these in. See if I've got it right here. Hang on. Right. And because I'm now on track 5, this is muted, so I'm going to unmute it. So don't forget that 5 and 6 are muted by default. In fact, while we're here, we'll unmute 6 as well. So, and I'm going to put these drums in the same as these ones here. So now if I solo this one and solo this one, if I use my sequence, if I choose my snare, you'll see you're not really hearing them both independently now. If I'm going to shift this new snare, I'm going to shift it slightly off grid, and you'll hear it now against our initial snare. See? Ooh. Bit too much there. So these now are running slightly off grid to each other, so you can hear them both. So you might want to say, well, I'll pan this one a little bit that way, and this one turn the volume down on this one. So now you've got these two snares slightly off grid and slightly panned left and right. Let's take a few of these hi-hats out and shorten the length. And that'll be slightly different each time. Maybe this one's a bit much. Okay. Awesome stuff. Now let's put something in number 6. So should we stick with a synth or a sampler? Let's have a look. Let's put in one of these mod effects, or what's these? This one. I'm going to put in a few hits for this sound here. Okay, now let's look at automation. If I go like this, okay, let's solo this. Let's say I want to do some pitch automation with this. I hit automation and it will start to flash just like the velocity. And all I need to do is tap the control I wish to automate, right? I don't actually need to tap, I just need to move it. So we can do the same with maybe the release. As long as automation is flashing, anything you touch will automate. So you can literally automate everything. When you've finished, you can stop it. Or if you want to get more detail, long hold. And now, whichever one you want to adjust. So now we're on saturation. So say for instance, right, okay, well I want to change the saturation automation. If I want to change the... Let me just turn that down a bit. If I want to change the pitch automation, I'll just touch on pitch and draw it in. So you've got absolutely tons of control. Long hold to get out of that screen again. And don't forget to delete automation, long hold and hit delete. Okay. Let's go into a range for a moment. Now you'll see we have one pattern. I'm going to select this pattern. So, I mean, it's the only one there, but I'm going to hit copy and I'm going to select an empty pattern and it'll paste it in. I'm going to copy this one, paste it in, copy this one and paste it in. So now I've got 4 patterns, which is the minimum length of a song. If I go on to song, I can do this either here, or if we look at the top left corner and this little diamond, if I switch that on, we're now in song mode. You'll see they'll both reflect, but because this isn't visible on some pages, you can always enter song mode or exit song mode here. So let's go into arrange. Let's make sure song mode is on, and when we press play now, it will just scroll through these, right? So okay, we're going to look at a couple of the superpowers of elastic drums. You have volume control here, then you have your BPM here. So you can change the BPM. You see, it says 100 BPM. Well, we can, why why can't we go? Yeah, we can. There we go. We can change our BPM there. And then this one, I mean, this is going to be global, but this one, this is per track. So this is the times tempo per track. So if I say, well, I'll select track 2 and I'll go 1.5 times faster on this one. And then on this one, I'll go twice the speed. So now what happens when we play our song? So you can change the actual timing of the BPM per pattern. So let's just make sure I'm finding my right one. Here's another superpower. Let's go into this one. Let's make sure we're not in song mode and go back to our instrument page. So now we're listening to pattern 2. You can choose patterns from here as well. So just by scrolling like this. But let's choose pattern 2. Let's choose our kick drum now, and I am going to change the kick, right? So I'm going to choose this kick pod, and I'm going to choose to change the snare as well. I'm going to mute this one. And bring this back to the center. Okay, and I'm going to mute these as well. This is pattern 2, remember, and pay attention to the bass drum. Go to our arrange, go back to 1. How cool is that? Right, go back to your pattern 2 you've just adjusted. What Elastic Drums does is remember absolutely everything you do per pattern. The sounds you change, the mutes you choose, the effects you use. Yes, even the effects change. The sounds, the automation, everything. Right, so now we play our little song project thing. Okay, so let's stop that. Come off song mode by tapping either the little diamond or the song. Select number 4 and go back into our instrument view. And I'll show you another cool thing. Down here where it says option, okay, click on this. And this is where you can randomize absolutely everything to any degree you like. So if we look along here, randomize sequence, randomize instrument. This is maybe we want to let's choose our snare and hit option, right? Let's just randomize the sequence. See, it's just randomized the sequence of the snare. Let's randomize it again, right? You can then nudge this sequence. So for example, if I say, well, that's a bit too busy, let's take some of these out, shall we? It's a bit mad. So you can see what I'm going to do next. So let's go back into our options again. What you can do is nudge the sequence you've selected. So make sure whichever sequence you're on, you can nudge it along like that or back. So now it's like, okay. Now the cool thing is it's not affecting anything other than this. If we say like go back to our first original pattern and then our altered one, okay, so let's go back to number 4 and let's just put these back in where they should be, sort of thing. just every other, you know, so it's just done drums. That's this down here. I'll turn the release down and the decay a little bit, and that should fix that. Okay, so the other options for automations are huge. Let's go into our arrange here, and let's copy this one, and we'll just paste that there. And I'll do the same again, because what will happen is it will play through the next 4. But if I just select our next pattern, oops, sorry, no, copy this there, copy that there, copy that there. But what we'll do now is we'll take this one and completely randomize the sequence. We'll go back to instrument, and we'll look at our options again. And this time we'll go randomize sequence. Well, you can randomize the instrument on whatever you have chosen, but let's randomize sequence and instrument. So let's look at our, let's stop playing. Let's solo it. Let's look at our option. Now we're selected on number 2, which is cool. So let's go to option and now randomize instrument, but not sequence. But randomize sequence and instrument. Okay, that's all right. So let's unsolo this one. Go back to our arrange view. Choose pattern number 6 now. Go back to our instrument. Let's go to option and randomize all sequence and all instruments. And once you find something you like, that's quite cool, you can start to say, well, it's a bit busy, isn't it? And now this is going to be remembered by our pattern here. Okay, awesome stuff. So our song would now sound, let's go back to pattern 1, switch song mode on. Now, you'll see it's only playing across 4. We have to increase this now. So, what does it add? There we go, yeah. So, I don't know if you can see it. You can barely see the lines in there. There you go. So, now we should be up our song. Start here. Right, let's see what happens if we... Okay, so, you know, that's how you set your song up here. You can actually see how you want to set it up here like that. Okay, so now we can come off song mode. Now let's go back to a more sensible pattern. This one was okay, wasn't it? Right, yeah, cool. This is good to show you effects. So moving on to our effects page now. The effects work in conjunction with the mixer. So what I'm going to do is go into our instrument here and make sure that everything is kind of playing. Oh, we're on a song mode. Okay. Now, if we look at our mixer, you'll see it says effects 1 and 2. So this would be effects 1, this would be effects 2, this would be effects 3, this would be effects 4. Now, these are sends. Okay, so you have your 4 effects, and these are how much of those effects you would like to send to the different instruments. So let's go to effects here, and maybe for effect number 1 we'll choose a flanger. For effect number 2 we'll choose I don't know, let me look around, a comb filter. For effect number 3, let's choose a pure verb, and for effect number 4, let's choose this, where are we? Down echo. So if we go back to our arrange now, we can blend between these different effects, these 4 effects we've just put in: the flanger, the comb, the pure verb, and the down echo. So let's see what happens. Let's press play. Okay, so let's mute those 3. So effect number 2 now, what's that? That's our comb filter. Let's change that to a big crush. Now, everything is automatable. If we turn in fact, I'll delete automation. Okay, whatever we select here. So for example, we've got the number 2, we're moving around the bit crusher effect, right? If we choose down echo, which is number 4, we can move number 4 around. If we choose the pure verb, which is number 3, we can move that around. If we choose flanger, which is number 1, we can move that around. Now, listen, we can automate it all, right, if we have automation on, but we can also blend between effects 1 and 3 and blend between effects 2 and 4, like this. Okay, so now if we switch automation on, let's choose the bit crush. Down echo. Pure verb. Go back to our arrange now, and we can mess up our effects, or it's awesome stuff. Let's delete automation, and that's how you play around with your effects. Now, the jam page, this is for live performance. You can choose a pattern, but one of 4. And then you can do certain things. So you can trigger some of the instruments. You can freeze them. And you have two freeze effects, 2 stutters and 2 delays. So you could set this freeze effect there. That one there, stutter. Delay. Now, these effects will only work when you touch them. They're performance effects, okay? you have two stop effects. Let's set this one a bit slower. Cool bananas. So that's how you play with your performance page. You've seen how you mesh with your effects. You've seen how you do your arrangements. Let's go back here. One more thing I want to show you before I go. If we just go to our init preset again, proceed, that's absolutely fine. There are other ways that we can record a pattern in. We don't have to enter a pattern in via a grid. So some of these will have default instruments in them. That's fine. So if I wanted to say, if I go into, right, there's a couple of things. I want to show you this one first. If we go into this, we can record the pattern, we can record a song, and it will either, if depending if record multi-channels on, if it is, it will record the master mix, and it will also record the stems, and you can share them to audio share. Okay, if you don't have this switched on, it will only record the master mix. Okay, so not the stems. So if you didn't want the stems as well, leave that on no. You can record just a single pattern and that will export that, but it will loop perfectly when you put it anywhere else. Or you can record your entire song. So like our 8 patterns we had before, we could record all of them. Right, we'll stick on pattern for now. That's that. That's quite straightforward. Here is things like Ableton Link, your Bluetooth settings, whether you want background audio on. Metronome volume, this will become obvious in just a sec. MIDI stuff, you know, the usual stuff that you might want to set up the way you have your app set up. If we go to record here, this doesn't record anything other than, you'll see this is flashing. Let me just make that solid. Now, don't forget that 5 and 6 here will be muted. But you can record this in. If we put this on, right, and we press play, we'll get a metronome. And there's our metronome volume here. So set that as you wish. And now as soon as I start to tap in on the pads here, we'll record the data into the sequencer. So epic stuff. When you're happy, just press stop, and you can do that for all your different. You could go into pattern 2 and record something else, but you know you can also copy and paste the patterns I showed you, which is really easy as well. Okay, when we're happy with our recording, we can go back to record. We can start changing our instruments up. We're on sampler, so I'll choose a sample. Maybe choose number 1. Go into we've got a grain synth. Synths, synth basses and that. Or we can choose one from our samples. Or we can say, let's go to another sample set. Choose this one. Maybe leave this as a. This one now. Maybe have this one as a, I don't know, PM2. Epic stuff. Anyway, guys, there you go. And when you're happy, you can just go in there and save it as whatever you like. We'll just save this as, I don't know, video. and go save preset, and it's a done deal. So now I've got my one I set up earlier, which I'm going to play out for you. If you've watched this video premiere, thank you very, very much. It's very much appreciated. Please remember to strike that like. If you don't already have Elastic Drums, I would suggest you go and get it because it's absolutely epic. And it was updated only a couple of months ago with some bug fixes and stuff. So it's looked after by Ollie, so no worries there. And I'll tell you something else as well quickly before I go. Although it's not an AUV3, you can open it as an inter-app audio in AUM, and it does have multi-out. So that means you can have each of these channels across different channels in AUM and then apply separate effects to those channels. Anyway, that's just something to ponder. But it's just absolutely brilliant. I love it. There's so much stuff in here. So many samples to mess around with. So much synth stuff. And the fact that everything changes per pattern is just awesome stuff. Let me copy this one. Put it there. Go into song mode. And guys, I will see you later. I'll play a few of the others as well, you know, for fun. Play for another 5 minutes or so. Anyway, top job. I'll see you later. Ta-da.